Let's go! You're now tuned in to the Not Suitable for Work podcast.
Check. And welcome to another episode of the Not Suitable for Work podcast. I am DJ XO.
And I go by the name of DJ Husky. Make sure if you're watching this right now, hit that subscribe button right now, Not Suitable for Work podcast, and hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video every week. Today is a very special episode. We got some very, very close people that we know from around the way. It's more like family. I would say they're some of the best relationship, marriage counselors. I mean, they have overcame so much stuff. And even when I'm having issues, I even call them and get some game from them. I want to introduce y'all to Delvin and Chel'c Bennett, man.
That's right. How y'all doing today?
Oh man, we blessed, man.
Yeah, feeling
Glad
good.
to be here. Yeah.
So I appreciate y'all being a guest host on the show. I like to say guest host. I don't like to say interviewers because you are a guest host. We're going to have open dialogue about relationships.
Right.
Then we're going to talk about a lot of things that people don't like to talk about but need to hear.
Yeah.
If you will. So first and foremost, I like to jump right into the conversation, right?
Okay.
So what are some signs that an individual is ready to get married or that is ready?
Want me to go first?
Sure.
For the man, a level of maturity.
Okay.
His way of thinking, and he has got the whoremonger spirit about of him.
Okay.
A lot of men, they ready to be married, but they're not ready to be committed to one woman. And so a lot of men will say they're ready, and then they see a woman, they're ready to chase something else down. So they haven't got that whore spirit out of them.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
And I would say, like he said, when you're not afraid of commitment, when you have learned to exercise self-control, when you are ready to lead as a man and not follow a woman, when a woman is ready to shift positions from being the final authority in her life and being okay with somebody else having the final say-so about something and sharing that, you're ready. When you are not afraid of disappointing others by putting that person first, you on the road to being ready for marriage.
That's good.
If disappointing people by putting that person first paralyzes you, you're not ready. You're not ready.
Correct.
I like that.
Yeah.
So, do you think that marriage is kind of similar to what college is, when you leave high school, you're supposed to go to college, right? So, do you think that a lot of relationships are turning into marriage because that's what people think that they're supposed to do versus waiting till the right time? It's more so like, we've been together this amount of time, and I guess it's time to get married. Do you think that's more of an issue nowadays with marriages?
Absolutely. I think a lot of people fail in marriage because they're pressured by their peers. Oh, how long y'all been together? You've been together 7-8 years. We ain't gonna ask a question. Well, that man may not be ready for that. This is what we talked about earlier about commitment. He very well not know how to commit because he's seen a pattern of other marriages that failed before him. Just like you said, from high school to college, it sounds like the right thing to do, but are you ready for it?
So do you think it's, as a woman, do you think it's I'm not gonna say so. Do you think it's necessary for women to try to put a time stamp or put pressure on a man for, well, if he ain't talking about marrying me in 3 years, then what is we doing this for? Because I hear a lot of that where a lot of women that have expectations where if we're dating, I refuse to date a man for X amount of years and he don't put a ring on it. So what is your take on that?
Well, I understand putting it out there that I'm not a lifelong girlfriend. I'm not a forever fiance. I get that. But putting expectations on a man to do something and he's not ready is setting yourself in forward motion for failure.
Correct.
Why? Because if you force a man into something he's not ready for, he's going to miss the mark. We already gonna make mistakes, but forcing somebody into something doesn't mean that that's what they're ready for. Like, just going back to you saying going from high school to college, okay, that's what everybody family want, for them to go to college, but college not for everybody.
That's right.
Same thing with marriage. Marriage is not for everybody.
Correct.
You have to know who you are and what you can commit to, and not doing it because of the pressures of the people who are around you. You have to do it because it's something that you desire.
Right.
I'll
like
say
that.
this too, in the same token, I think that the woman, there's nothing wrong with setting a standard.
Absolutely.
If you do say 2 years, that could be a good thing, that could be a bad thing, it could be a blessing or a curse, because within those 2 years, he might just say, man, well, let me go and marry because this is what she wants.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
And then it's a forced failure.
Yeah, it's a forced.
See, I tell people all the time, I was with my wife now for 9 years before I even proposed to her, right? And I commend her just for sticking around.
Yeah,
right.
It's a long time.
The thing is, any time before that time wouldn't have been the right time.
Right.
You know, it's like I went when I was 20 years old. And we got married at about 29, 30, right? So she groomed me. You know, she stuck through me with the, excuse my language, with the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Until I turned into a man.
Yeah.
You know, most women would have left or like, nah, I ain't right. I wouldn't have blamed them.
Yeah.
But any time before the time I asked her to marry me would have been the wrong time. So just to kind of piggyback what you guys were saying, you can't force a man to do something he's not ready for because it's going to fail. Right?
Correct.
And a lot of people do it because of, you know, the religious beliefs. You know, before you have a kid, you're supposed to get married and all of that, things like that. So that kind of just takes me into my next question. Other than religious beliefs, what is the reason that one should get married? I mean, if not for religion, then why?
Well, I would say at the very basis, I won't say religious, but spiritual compatibility at the very basis is the most important component when you get married. It is hard for a marriage to work if there is a Muslim and a Christian, or if you're not equal, what the word talks about being equally yoked. So the words say that unless the Lord builds a house, he who labors builds it in vain. So it's like, okay, whatever it is that the purpose of you getting married, whatever you call yourself building on, is not going to be enough to sustain you. You can't build on money, because money is currency. It come to your hand, it flow, and it go right back out. You can't build on sex, because your idea of what it's going to be like when you get married and his idea is not the same. You can't build on love, because it's people who divorce that say, yeah, I did love him. So at the very basis, when it comes to spiritual, the foundation of your marriage, it has to be the same, because if it's different, that foundation is going to be shaky. Correct. And I know we say that as believers, and some people don't agree with that. But there are people who don't believe, and they are doing well in marriage, but it's because they exercising biblical principles.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, at the basis of it, that's me. That's
so
how I feel.
I guess what I'm saying, okay, spirituality is the basis of it, right? So if you take that out of it, you can do all those same things and not sign paperwork. I guess is what I'm saying, right?
Yes.
So other than that, what is the reason that people are still getting married? I mean, if you can still do all of the same exact things without being married, you can still stay with another person. I mean, other than getting ridiculed from your family, I guess. But you know, you can still stay with somebody. You can still have a joint bank account. I don't know if you're on the insurance or not, but you can still do the exact same things if you're not married. So other than spiritual reasons, what is the reason to still get married in 2020 these days?
I would say some people look at it as a form of rescue or come up.
Yep.
You said come up?
A come up, yeah.
Okay.
I'm being straight up, you know. It's just a come up. Oh man, she got a nice job, or he got a nice car. Right. I wonder what I can get out of this.
Yeah.
So financial stability.
Yes.
Correct. Yes. Financial stability.
Help, Another thing people do is they think that it's a cure for lust and loneliness. Like marriage is not a cure for being lonely. It's not a cure for lust. It doesn't do that. Some people they don't know how to be comfortable with themselves, so they feel like marriage is going to fix that. Yeah. And it doesn't.
That's true. I completely agree with that.
It does not fix that.
Do you think, because one thing that we're seeing a lot that really just grinds my gears, do you think it's acceptable for women to propose to their men? Because that really bothers me. Like, why? What?
It's a thing. It's a thing.
So let me just. I'm gonna give the short version. I allow my wife to give the extended version of that. These women. Let me just say this: women need to calm down.
because anytime a woman drops to one knee, you're taking the position of a man. That's what a man was called to do, to propose or take a woman's hand in marriage. And I feel like the women are trying to be more dominant these days. And what dominant, when you're being dominant, that means you're having a forced marriage. And a forced marriage can turn into a failed marriage. So everything that the woman wants to do, well, when you gonna marry me? Well, forget it. I'll propose to you. That ain't the way it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
They've been very impatient. I think
Well, it does say he who find a wife.
It does.
Which means that it's the man's job to ask the question.
Men are natural born hunters. They are the ones who are supposed to pursue. But because of society and the society we live in, like, oh, you could just do it like this. You ain't got to wait on him. We don't realize that the way a relationship begins is typically the way it's maintained. If you had to pursue your husband and make him marry you, you're going to have to pursue him and keep him wanting to stay with you because he didn't choose you. You chose him.
Yeah.
So now you got to pursue him in sex. You got to pursue him in oneness. You got to pursue him in being committed to you and only you because you pursued him on one knee. That's not your position.
I didn't pursue the game pursued me.
Yeah. So I got a question. So just hypothetically speaking, if you was somewhere with a family member or something, and they just took one knee like in your prayer, like hi, like you be like, hey, you don't get your
Yeah.
Like, bro, you really gonna let your woman do this?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I be saying.
This is embarrassing.
Yeah.
I'm not judging anybody for what they do. That's them. But it's not a good look. It's not the way it was designed to go.
Yeah.
And I know people be like, we in 2020, so what?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
I agree. I would be able to explain that to people. So how'd y'all propose? Well, you know, my wife got down on one knee.
Right.
She took my hand in marriage.
Yeah. And I said yes.
Well, it's kind of what you were saying too. Whenever a woman gets down on one knee, she pretty much saying that she is
taking the man's
role.
Right.
But you're seeing nowadays a lot of women are comfortable with that role, making more money, not being submissive. You know, pretty much being the dominant person in the household.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys think about that as far as the woman not being submissive or not submitting to their husband in relationships, even if they are the financial breadwinner or anything like that?
Well, I would say that. I'm sorry. Before I keep going, was you about to say something?
Yeah.
Okay.
So with that, I think men need to do a serious background check and get a closer relationship with mother-in-laws now, because a lot of just like men are being raised by women. And so they see they see a pattern of a woman doing everything for the little boy. Well, once that little boy gets raised up, he thinks it's okay for a woman to take care of him.
Right.
And so that man says, okay, well, cool. I've seen my mama do it my whole life. I'm cool with it. But on the flip side of that, the woman that has that domineering spirit has to check herself. Don't matter how much money you may bring to the table. See, if my wife makes $120,000 and I make $20,000, well, the house makes $140,000, but the world doesn't see it that way. They think Chel'c dominates me. God sees it as oneness. We got this thing under control together.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah, go ahead, man.
And another thing to add to that is that submission has nothing to do with money. And it's an influence of the world. Submission is generated by an act of the will. Money is generated by a work of the hand. It's two completely different things, but people bring it together like it goes hand in hand.
Right.
Now, true enough, it is difficult for a woman to so-called submit to a man who she feels like she's taken care of. But the thing about it is, first of all, you have to understand that even if you're making more money, in my opinion, the burden of responsibility and the home should not be on the woman. So if she makes more money, don't live up to the means of her income. You live up to the means of the husband's income. And everything that she brings in is surplus. And I'm not saying that her money is her money. No, it's still one pot. But I'm saying at the end of the day, you can't rely on the woman we're not built for the weight of the family to be on our shoulders. Correct. When it comes to the finances. We can handle the cooking, we can handle the cleaning, we can handle the nursing and the children and all this, but when you have to do that and be the financial breadwinner and provide for them, it'll wear you out.
Yeah.
It breaks the back of a woman, and that's why, submission is a kingdom term. It's not a worldly term. It's frowned upon by the world. The world don't like that. Submit for what? You know why? But the reason is because women in particular, since that's who we're talking about, have submitted to the wrong person. And so now it's become a problem and a protective measure to keep from getting hurt by the right person.
They submitting to baby daddies.
Yeah, baby daddies. People who cheating on them. People who beating on them. People who using them.
Right.
And then when it comes to the husband, the right person, it's hard because that has been taken advantage of when you were willing to do that.
And I think people get that submission thing confused and twisted up with
control.
Control and doing whatever he tell you to do, and that's not what submit means. So for the people who don't know any better, because unfortunately there are a lot of people, men and women, who do not know what that word actually means, I want both of y'all to explain what is submitting in your marriage.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I'll give it the biblical way. You go.
Submission is the willing subordination of an equal to an equal for the purpose of stability of the home. We are both equal, but I surrender my will to come under you so that we can have order. We can't have two heads because now we creating chaos.
Oh shit!
That was a boss. I mean, that's the way God designed it.
Right.
Civil administrators govern society. Parents govern the home. Elders govern the church. There was always a purpose of having a spiritual authority over you, not a person to control you or a tyrant, but someone. Submission is a place of protection.
Absolutely.
If you don't get under your husband, how can he protect you?
Right.
Because you always out here doing your own thing because you grown. It don't work.
And so everything what Chelsea just said, that's the extended version. I'll give the short version, but she submits to me and I submit to Christ. Simply put. And so she won't submit to me if I'm not following Christ. A lot of people get out of order, or women will get out of order because they don't know how to submit to the man. And the man is not submitting to, he's just submitting to anything that he sees.
So with that being said, with those definitions, do you think a marriage will work if a woman do not submit to her husband?
It can work, but it will be a struggle. It will be a definite struggle because, see, a man who doesn't have room to lead and guide his family, he can't take that woman to the next level because he can't. I mean, it's hard for him to take you serious and knowing that you leaving him room to be the man because you trying to be who he is created to be. So now he like, okay, well, what am I here for? Since you got it, since you control everything, since it's like, why am I here?
That's good. I like that answer.
This is a question that my wife would probably appreciate. Why do you think it's hard? No, this is not talking about my wife. Why do you think it's hard for women to take accountability when they're wrong?
They stubborn. Go ahead.
Right. This is actually a 2-part conversation, right? And what is a form of healthy? I don't want to say arguing, but healthy arguing versus non-healthy arguing. Because people in marriage, you're going to argue. Right? You're going to have a disagreement.
You need it.
Right. But there's a form of unhealthy arguing, and then there's also a healthy arguing where both you guys can put aside the BS and actually get to what the issue is, right? And a lot of people don't know the difference, right? Some people want to just argue to be right instead of trying to find the solution. So what can you give as far as your opinion? First of all, the first question about why women are always right. And then the second one is what is healthy arguing? Like what kind of advice can you give to people about healthy arguing versus non-healthy?
So I'll answer the healthy argument. First and foremost, you need healthy arguing because there's nothing wrong with having a disagreement. It's when you become disrespectful is when the argument takes a turn for the left. So when we have heated debates, all it is a heated debate is ironing out your wrinkles. If you don't iron out these wrinkles and keep sweeping everything under the rug, that becomes a big mountain.
Yeah.
You have to address those issues, but be respectful in that manner. So,
And I will to add to that, I would say unhealthy arguing is when you begin to raise your voice, when you begin to demean and undermine that person, start making them feel devalued. That is unhealthy. But you actually answered the healthy part is when what you're doing, when you're debating to find a resolution, not to protect your point. Because if protecting your point is causing division in your marriage, you're losing. You're not winning.
Okay.
So,
but what if you're right though?
even if you're right, do you want to be right or do you want to have peace?
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to know how to pick your battles, and then you have to go and say, okay, I know what I said. If I'm wrong, we have to leave ourselves enough room to say, if I'm wrong, then let me see that. I need to be able to see that, because in all of our eyes, we want to think that we're right.
Absolutely.
Because we see it from our perspective. If I put a 6 in this table, you're going to say it's a 9 because of how you're looking at it. But on my perspective, I'm like, that's a 6. You're like, it's a 9. We're looking at it from different ways. But neither one of us are wrong. So just because you're right, don't mean that they wrong.
And is that the man's job to be the one to acknowledge that and be like, you know what? I'm gonna sit this one out.
No.
Not every time.
And that kind of brings me back to the woman always being right. So let's say we are both having an argument, right? Or you and your wife are having an argument, and both of you guys are agreeing and y'all still going. Whose job is it at that moment to be like, you know what? I'm gonna eat this one. I'm gonna sit back.
Really, you gotta. Both of you have to be mature about the situation. Most of the time, it is the man. Like 80% of the time,
That
it's
is
the
not
man.
true.
But the woman needs to realize, like, hey, I see you taking a bullet all the time. Let me take the bite one time. All right, I was wrong, and boom, huge weight lifted off your shoulders.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of my questions would be, because do you think when is it? Because it seems like it's not cool for men to be vulnerable anymore in the household, because there's a lot of toxic things going on when a man expresses himself or says, hey, I don't appreciate such and such, or when you said or did such and such, that made me feel a way. And instead of the two trying to come together and work those problems out and get a mutual understanding, it's always just belittling him as a man.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so what do you think the issue is with? I mean, is a man supposed to be able to feel vulnerable in his relationship to where he can express all of his feelings to his woman and get that same respect back, or do we need to keep our stuff in so we don't look like a chump, or like because some people need to hear that.
Yeah. So let me just say, as black men, and we grew up together.
Yep.
So we've always been told, head up, chest out, man up, don't cry, all kind of things. And as a kid, elementary school, L.A. Morgan, I can remember.
You know about L.A. Morgan, man.
It's hometown, man, danger zone.
Big drive by drills.
Yeah. So we were just told to man up, even from our older brothers, Tim and Darren and all them. So they would tell us to man up, and so we would take that into our teenagers, and we would never express. And so it's not healthy for us to hold things in. Yeah. God did not design our bodies. A lot of people have stroked out because they've held so many things in. Yeah. So when getting to a marriage, when you think about marrying somebody, think about marrying your best friend, you should be able to confide in them and tell them anything, everything. And so we get to a point where we told them something that we thought that was safe there, and they held it up, they dangled it over your head. And therefore we're not safe inside our own home anymore. Like if I share something with my wife at the beginning stages of anything, and her sister comes and tell me, then I feel some type of way.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So we just kind of reserved on that. But I think black men should be able to express themselves. It took me a while to start saying. It took me about 3 years to where I was comfortable expressing myself to my wife, because it was just man up,
right.
Hold it in. You know what I'm saying? Head up, chest out. So now, but it's not healthy.
That's right.
Men need to let it out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But at the same time, we don't need to get, when we do let it out, like even if y'all get into a disagreement via text message. Well, if you this is something I gotta tell you right now, and I'm sending you a long paragraph. Like with me, I know I'm real. I can't make a long story short. I don't know how to do it. I gotta say it how I'm gonna say it. It's gonna come out, so it ends up being long-winded.
Yeah.
And if I get a response back to the degree of, well, I'm not about to read all that. See, that's why I don't tell you nothing now.
Yeah.
Because you come back with this here, or well, man, every time I well, that's why I don't because every time I tell you something, you always want to bring, and that's another thing. Don't bring up no old shit. We not talking about what I did 3 years ago. We talking about what you did now.
Right.
So what I did 3 years ago got to do with this conversation.
Let it out, Husky. Let it out.
No, I'm just saying.
My bro over here having fun. Give him a towel right
They
there.
bring up old shit. Because that don't be a plunger. We talk about right now.
Right now.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's just a big issue because a lot of relationships say they have that issue.
Bring the bold stuff?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think people do need to chill on, the past mistakes. The Bible says that love keeps no record of wrongdoing. So we don't bring up the past. You know what I'm saying? You got to relinquish that. Also, on the flip side of that, when we text each other, you can never distinguish the tone behind the text.
Right.
So if you're texting, people that's watching this, when you're texting, stay away from exclamation marks and caps.
Capital letters.
Yes.
Like when you capping, it's like you cursing at somebody.
Yeah.
Bro, why you yelling? So at that present moment, go ahead and call and get it off your chest. And the person on the receiving end, when you're receiving that, listen to gain understanding.
Right.
Don't listen to have a rebuttal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or cut them off and be disrespectful. No, listen. Let me take this in. Let me gain some understanding. Okay, I may not agree with what you're saying, but I understand why you feel this way.
Exactly.
That is a great because I am a rebuttal person. And I am. I don't know how not to be. I mean, I am I'm a debating person. I'm not gonna say I'm not a conflict person, but if someone has an issue or something you're gonna talk to me about, I'm already charging up my answers and my ammo on my head before they even finish. That is something that not only myself but a lot of people do, because a lot of people, as soon as somebody asks them something, they get on the defense. Like you're being
what you mean?
You're being attacked, so they're already coming up with the answer instead of a solution. Right. So I can definitely agree with that. That's a very good thing that I need to hear.
Yeah.
So speaking of cell phones and people text messaging, also when I was in high school, I used to text with all caps all day long. I didn't know that I was screaming at people. You screaming? Until somebody told me one day, like, man, why are you yelling? I was like, yelling? What you mean, why am I yelling? I was like, I just thought it was cool. Caps, what you doing today? But speaking of cell phones, do you guys think cell phones in this generation hurts the relationship or helps the relationship?
I think it could do both. It's based on the user. It could be helpful and it could be hurtful. It just depends on how you're using it. If you're using it and you maximize all your time all day on your phone, that's hurtful. Yeah. Because you're removed from the people who are there physically with you, trying to entertain people who on social media or across town or whatever, and you just like emotionally not there. It's almost like you'd rather be somewhere else than to be presently with the people you with.
Yeah, I went to a restaurant a while ago. It was actually me and my mother and my wife, and she brought it to my attention. She was like, just look around. Everyone was on their phones. Family, son, daughters, husband, babies. Wife, everybody, babies, iPad. Yeah. We're like disconnected. Like, there's no communication anymore. And I think that's the part that hurts the relationship. So do you think that there should be a cell phone jail or something with your relationship at home that you guys should have a time limit on when you guys don't have your phone, the way you guys have just one-on-one time? You think that's
absolutely
good
I think too much of something is just if it's overkill, and if the spouse, the husband or the wife is throwing little hints like, what you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, you on that phone again?
That's my favorite.
You know.
What you doing?
No, baby, this ain't about us.
Yeah, it is.
But if she throwing hints or if he throwing hints, okay, draw back a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Be on your phone when she ain't around. Not being like sneaky or anything, but you know, set a time limit. All right, 7:30. I'm off. You know what I'm saying? No social media. This me and your time. So.
I'm always on my phone.
Yeah, me too.
But y'all businessmen though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
They don't see it like
you gotta have balance. You do have to have balance. But y'all businessmen.
Yeah. How do y'all feel about this is another good question. How do y'all feel about passwords on the phone in a relationship or marriage?
Gotta get that thing up.
The
think
best
so?
Get that thing up.
The best kept secret to our relationship is no secrets.
That's right.
No hiding anything.
That's right.
best kept secret to our relationships is no secret.
That's right.
I
mean,
what we gotta hide?
right.
Yeah, that's
Well, a lot of times though, the password ain't on the phone to hide nothing from your partner, but other people who might pick up your. Because if you got some buses of your,
I get that.
Of course you want nobody to pick it up.
I think a better question is, should your wife have your password to your phone?
Absolutely.
Yes.
I think that's more.
Absolutely. No questions asked.
In this day and age, there is so much happening, and there is so much content in our phone as it directly relates to us. I strongly feel that your spouse needs to have your password. What if they have to look for something and something happens to you and you can't speak for yourself? Where was the last place he was at? What was this? What was that? The third. And I'm not speaking that as saying like, be expecting it, but no, you have to be prepared for all situations.
Yeah, that answer's gonna go viral.
That needs to be shared. And like you said, the password is to keep certain people out. But not
your wife or your spouse.
Not your spouse. It's to keep your kids out your phone. It's to keep other people out of your phone, but not your spouse.
That's good. I like that.
You have to share everything. Whatever you don't share has the ability to compromise your relationship.
I agree. So, what do you think about sharing locations on your phones? What do you think about that? Because I know some people who got the share. I mean, my wife has my password, but I don't like the knowing where I'm at. And it's not even a sneaky thing. It's just more so like a taking away my rights. Like I don't even know. Like,
I think that's a bit overbearing to man, drop your location. Why?
Yeah,
I'm down the street.
Yeah.
Like if you want to know where I'm at, just call me.
Yeah.
Again, I don't have anything to hide.
Right.
I'm not out doing nothing. If I'm with the fellas or if I'm playing Madden, you know where I'm at. Just call me. Here, we can FaceTime.
Right.
With all the dropping the location, I think that goes in the lines of controlling. Yeah. My opinion.
Or being
my opinion.
Or being insecure.
Yeah.
Something may have taken place. If somebody's very adamant about that, something has happened that makes them feel like they need to know where you are
At all times.
at all times. I mean, that's something you may do with your kids, but not your spouse.
Yeah.
Like he said, just call me.
Yeah.
If there's some trust that's been breached, then that's the reason why. If they're very adamant. It ain't
All
just
past relationships.
Yeah. If you have a healthy relationship, it ain't no need to know your every location. Oh, I'm at McDonald's. Oh, I'm at Walmart. I'm back at work.
But some people are like that.
I know people who and they say it for safety reasons, which is fine. But
True.
I personally think I just want to make sure I wasn't the weird one.
Right.
Tripping.
Right.
Like, what you mean she ain't following you? Like, I just don't. That's something
Yeah.
I just to me that's just too much.
Yeah, it can be for safety reasons, and I understand that. But at all times, okay, what were people doing before there was a drop of location?
Exactly. Yeah. Page me. Wait till I get home and call me on my landline.
Exactly.
That was it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And my thing is, knowing where they are at all times is not gonna save them from something, whatever might happen.
Yeah.
It's not going to change anything.
Yeah.
Sometimes it may, for people who in unhealthy relationships, it may break your heart to know where they at all times.
Come on.
You gotta say Never mind.
What do y'all think some of the main causes or leading causes of divorce in black marriages on both ends? Because a lot of marriages are really not lasting long these days, and they get they have an extravagant wedding or all this, and then they don't last. They're getting divorced 3-4 years later. So what do you think the leading causes of
You gave them grace. Statistics show the average marriage is 7 months.
7 months.
7 months.
What?
Average.
I'm doing good.
2019?
Yeah,
Man, that's crazy.
7 months.
We in bad shape. So this podcast is actually going to be. It needs to be shared.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
The reason being, the number one reason why people are getting divorced in black marriages, financial reasons. We never get over that financial hurdle. If the enemy can get your money, he can get your marriage.
Yeah.
Then it's no accountability. See, a lot of people think that when we have the best man and groomsmen and whatnot, it's a photo op. It's a fashion show. Well, those guys are designed to be there to uphold the marriage. When you tripping, if I'm tripping, see, my best man was my brother.
Yeah.
If I'm ever tripping and saying, man, I want to leave Chel'c, he gonna show up at my doorstep.
Yeah.
Now you better get back in the house.
Right.
The same thing for the bridesmaid, but nowadays the best man is actually pushing the husband, to the strip club, pushing him to the side chick. And so financial reasons. Second thing is sex, lack of sex, not enough sex, no sex at all. Man can't get it up. Those are reasons in the black family. Those are just two.
Yeah. For me, I would say the leading cause for, since you said black marriages, is men being leaders. Men have been so comfortable with, like Delvin said, because of the dynamics of our community, being raised by a woman, they don't know how to lead because there was no one there to teach them. Or the weight of carrying a family for a lifetime is too much of a burden for him. So he's like, I'd rather just be passive and do whatever she says. And while he thinks that that's pleasing to the wife, it's actually frustrating her because she wants you to lead. But while she wants you to lead, the number one cause for black women is submission. So it's like, it's a catch-22 where you want him to lead, but he won't lead because you won't submit.
And you challenge everything.
Submit because he won't lead. So they kind of go hand in hand with one another, and it's trouble with women submitting because they've always had to be the head. I had my children. I was the head. I was the final decision maker. I was the breadwinner. I was the one who had to do all the sacrifices. And now that this is a shared responsibility, we have trouble. I'm speaking for myself. I had trouble giving up the position of having the final yes or no when it came to governing my life and my decisions. I didn't realize that getting married, I have to give that, not my sense of self, but as far as the direction of where my family was going, I had to give that to my husband. Now, if he a wise man, he gonna make sure he include me in those decisions, but ultimately it's on him. But for women, it's just a problem with submitting because they feel like, in my position, I felt like he not wise enough to make all the decisions. Like, I'm afraid of where we're gonna end up if I just leave it to him.
Yes.
So it became an issue. And he was like, well, since you want to do everything, you lead. So I feel like that's what some of the problem is because we don't see healthy relationships coming up. There are some, but they're scattered. We don't see a consistent, healthy family, generations of people being married. So we mimic what we saw and it's hurting our marriage.
Absolutely. And I think that it's also a lack of representation. Right? There's not a lot of friends, like you said, family around for us to kind of take the blueprint from.
Exactly.
So like, okay, this is how I want to be, or this is how I want to be because it's acceptable now. Like, hey, first one don't work, I always try again.
That's a problem.
So there's no accountability when you do get a divorce because it's kind of like, oh, everybody doing this. It's a lack of accountability when you do get a divorce. And also kind of going back to what Delvin was saying is that the people around you, right? So my next question is the people around you. I had this quote down that said, throwing stones in the glass house, right? A lot of times people give advice but don't take their own advice, right? So who should you take marriage advice from or advice period from when it comes to your relationship?
I think.
How do you pick those people?
Okay. So every couple needs an accountability partner.
Yes.
They need, the Bible says, a bunch of times about getting wise counsel. And so therefore, when you do fall on hard times, you need those, what they call, quote unquote, 3 a.m. friends. I mean, some solid friends that's not going to be no yes man, that's not going to, ride with you. If you're wrong, they going to call you out or call you to the carpet. So every couple needs an accountability partner. every couple needs a counselor, and that's somebody that's not going to be biased. So it's very helpful and vital for each marriage relationship.
Absolutely. And I think some of the guidelines you can use when choosing those people are, first of all, do they have a strong marriage? Because see, if they miserable, you can't go confide in them because they be like, let me tell you what I would have did. Well, no, that's why you where you at right now. I don't need to know what you would have done. So they have to be a strong and healthy couple. They have to be whole in their own marriage. I would also say that, you know, they excuse me, they have to be someone that both you and your spouse are safe with. Not someone who is gonna side with you because that's my sister or that's my brother. And I wouldn't even say confide in your friends or your siblings. Find someone beyond relative relationship that can really hold you accountable, and they're not gonna sugarcoat nothing with you.
Well, I always say if I drive a Cadillac, I don't want to let nobody who's never worked on a Cadillac fix my car. So I'm not going to ask a person who can't keep their own relationship or is not in a long-lasting relationship for any type of advice. But some people feel like, well, just because I'm single don't mean I can't give you no relationship advice, and I don't agree with that. Because if you ain't never been in no, or at least more than one relationship that lasted at least 2-3 years, you're not qualified to give me no advice about what I need to do. But some people feel, you know, I don't know why people feel like the same thing. Like if you're not a parent, you can't give me advice on how to raise my son. You don't have children.
You can read all the books in the world, but it's something about that experience, you know. So
I think they can give you. I think certain people can give you nuggets of wisdom, but they can't give you advice as it pertains to how to make your relationship work.
Right.
And when those nuggets of wisdom come, they're typically for you. Since you came and asked me, I'm not going to tell you what's going to work for your man. You came to talk to me, so let's talk about you. So if it comes to them giving you nuggets of wisdom, that's one thing, but advice as far as your relationship, you got to go to somebody who's there. Yeah.
Should it be to an individual person or the same person with a non-biased opinion?
What? I'm sorry.
If you guys are going to someone about differences in your marriage, should it be one individual person who's going to give you guys a unbiased opinion, or should you guys have your own separate accountability partners?
Well, when I say accountability partners, it should be accountability couple. It should. That was two people. Right.
Yeah.
But if you having like a individual counselor that's dealing with one individual, I think that's bigger than the marriage. Then that's something with self. You know what I'm saying? If you got anger issues, you need to go get counseling. That don't have nothing to do with your marriage.
Right. And that was actually following into my next question. So what do you guys think about marriage counseling? Because I know people who do go, and they don't go just because they're having a shaky relationship. They just go to kind of keep the relationship afloat or keep it good and kind of keep it in good standing. So what's y'all take on marriage counseling? Because I know it's a bad stigma on just therapy, period. And especially with the black community going to therapy, people get crazy or something going on. So what's y'all thoughts on this counseling, period? Just marriage counseling?
I would say it's very necessary, and the stigma comes because people have segregated counseling into thinking that it has to be something wrong rather than a maintenance factor. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's absolutely nothing wrong with going to marriage counseling. If you're going to make it, you have to get counsel beyond yourself, because you will counsel yourself right into divorce. You have to get someone who knows what they're talking about, someone outside of your marriage, because it actually saves the intimacy in your marriage when you get counsel. Because sometimes we can't see eye to eye because we too familiar with each other. I can't receive from you because you're the person who hurt my feelings yesterday. You have to get counsel outside of yourself. I strongly advocate for it. Now, statistics do show that 7 out of 10 couples do succeed with marriage counseling, but sometimes counseling leads people to divorce. Why is that? Because what it does is it unveils some deep-seated issues that the couple didn't even realize was there. I didn't even know that about you. Oh my God. I can't deal with that. I can't deal with this. So rather than them taking the counsel, they start separating themselves because of they begin to individualize themselves rather than still seeing themselves as one, and it leads them to divorce. So for some people, and it's not the marriage counseling was not ineffective. It was the people were not willing to change and have grace for one another.
That was really good.
So going on the way to the altar, does the type somebody popping firecrackers outside?
They early.
Does the type of or should the type of ring matter, and why is there so much emphasis nowadays on the type of ring that a man proposes to a woman with?
I'm gonna say, for starters, absolutely not. I've seen people wear $10,000 rings and have $100 commitment.
Come on, man.
Then I've seen people have $100 ring and have the best marriages known to man. It's not about the marriage, but I think a lot of people, why people place so much emphasis on it, is why we need to one up somebody. It's all about we live in a social media type of world. So look what he got me, y'all. You know, that's what it's all about. It's a fashion show now. Instead of, we're ready for the wedding, the glitz and the glamour, but we're not ready for the marriage.
Yeah, and I would say that unfortunately the size of the ring, like Delvin said, it does not determine the strength of the marriage. It doesn't determine the level of commitment. The ring is just a remnant to remind you of your commitment to that person whenever they're not physically present with you.
Right.
But we have people have begun to, because of the day and age we live in, women particularly measure ourselves by the size of the ring that the man gets us to make us feel like we more important to him because my ring costs this much.
He really
that's
me.
not true.
Yeah. Right.
Really, that's not true. There are some people who got married with rubber bands, and they're like so in love, and eventually they got their $30,000 ring, but they didn't get it when they got proposed to.
Right.
When we got married, he proposed to me with his mother wedding ring from
whoa. No, I'm joking.
He proposed to me.
Wait a minute.
I edit that part out. Yeah, I could.
So when he proposed to me, it was with his mother's wedding ring from when she got divorced from his dad.
That was bad.
7 years later, I got me a ring, a surprise ring, and I was super excited about it. But it's not measured in the ring. We gotta get our head out of trying to be like or compete with everybody else. And put so much emphasis and pressure on the man to get the ring when really the size of the ring don't match the size of his commitment.
Correct.
And I think that's another problem, like going into like the social media thing. People try to base their relationship or marriage goals off of superficial things like celebrities or rappers or the Kardashians and things like that. When they rich, you can't be like
That's
them. And
right.
just because they got money, they could be miserable as hell behind closed doors. Or they try to base their stuff on pictures that they see other people do or videos that they see other couples do. And my whole take is a lot of people who put emphasis on posting every single thing about their relationship usually are the ones that are mostly miserable. So
I agree.
Going into that, do you think that keeping your relationship mostly off of social media or away from social media, is that the key to a longer lasting relationship nowadays in this society?
So let me go first. So again, that's one of those. So it could be a blessing or it can be a curse. I'll just use Chel'c and I for example. We really strive to live this thing out, and one thing that we want to do is encourage a young couple that, hey, there is hope. Somebody can do this thing out. Somebody can bring back the old way of how marriage was 20, 30, 40 years. And so when people don't post on social media, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that as long as y'all have a mutual understanding or a mutual agreement on that. But keeping it off, they might be cheating in the dark too. So that's just my take on it. But no, we love to post it. We love the positive feedback, and a lot of times what social media does it gives us an opportunity to also minister to other people. When they see us, they may not write in the comments, but they'll inbox us. Hey, we going through this, and so hey, we're always willing to help out a couple. So
Yeah.
And then that's what it's about too, man. The motivation, right? Some people do it for the motivation, right?
Yeah.
And I guess you just gotta kind of pick who you follow and pick who you, I ain't gonna say choose to believe, but you gotta, because some people are genuine and some people, like we said, are doing it just for the show. Right. They posting it, they taking pictures with their husbands, the family, they look real good, but it's all a facade, right? It's all for the look. So I could definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
All right. So the another question I have is, I want to talk about the whole shacking thing.
Shaq.
Yes, shacking. Do you think it's wise?
O'Neal?
Nah, not Shaquille. not that Shaq. Not Shaq Diesel. Not Shaq Diesel. Shacking. So do y'all think that it's wise for couples to move in together before marriage? Like, is shacking, or should shacking be acceptable? Because my opinion,
I got an opinion too.
I think that, how am I gonna know if I can't live without you if I can't live with you? And how do I know if I can live with you if I can't live with you? You see what I'm saying? So
I agree.
I feel like shacking is appropriate before marriage, because I need to see what kind of person you is before I even decide if I want to spend the rest of my life with you. But two y'all married. Do y'all think that should be acceptable? Because you know that's frowned upon our OGs and stuff.
Yeah.
They got a word for it.
Shacking.
Yeah, well, really, the correct term for it is cohabitating.
Yeah.
And because of I don't judge people, but because of my belief, I would say no. Why do I say no? Because studies have proven that people who cohabitate have a 70% chance of a lower success rate. And why is that? Is because there is more abuse, there's more infidelity. And when I say abuse, I don't necessarily mean physical. I mean emotional, spiritual, certain things. You know that you're gonna deal with certain things in your marriage, but the numbers don't lie. The scientific study behind them interviewing and doing polls with people don't lie.
Right.
And when it comes to that, it's like, okay, when you talk about shacking and living with someone before marriage, all you're doing is playing it before you actually decide that you're really going to do it. Living together doesn't to some people may feel like that this helps me determine whether or not I'm gonna be able to spend my life with you. But that's the process of dating. It doesn't take you to live together for you to know that this is someone I can spend the rest of my life with. Right. You don't have to live with that person and go to sleep and wake up to know that it will work or it won't work.
Well, I just think that some people, man or women, are good actors, and some people really know how to hide their true selves. And then once they jump the broom, then it's a whole 360.
Oh yeah,
like, you know. So
definitely. I want to ask you this though. Let me ask a question. Let me switch roles real quick.
Yeah.
How long is the shacking process though?
Well, not that I can't put my finger. I can't call it. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, whether it's for a year, whether it's for 2 years, I'm just speaking in general.
Okay.
Should that be? Is that acceptable nowadays? Because you just never know. Even with simple stuff. Well, how you might clean up only when I come over.
Yeah.
Well, I need to know if you can clean up all the time.
Yeah. So that's like a 52 fake then. So
52.
Yeah, it's a 52 fake.
Do you snore?
So yeah, that's another one.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you're going to the dealership to let's just say a Rolls Royce, once you test drive it, you're gonna know whether or not you like it or not, right?
See, that analogy is different because you can go online and look at all the specs. You know what I'm saying? You look at the reviews, on that said Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
You can't really do that unless you actually see, okay, am I okay with it? Like, because me, myself, and I don't knock anybody who believed it, but I've stayed with my wife now. We stayed together for a while before we got married.
Yeah.
And we always knew we was gonna get married, but we were just comfortable staying with each other, you know, with the circumstances or whatever. So I don't think that if we wouldn't have stayed together, I don't think if we did not stay together, I don't think we would still be together, because I just think it would have been so many other options. You know, I just would have been doing other stuff. But the fact that I was committed enough for us to stay together, I guess I've been even committed enough to get married.
Right.
The fact that I was committed enough to stay with each other until we got to that process, I think that's one of the main reasons that actually kept us together.
So my question is, what do you? Okay, there's this thing called common law marriage.
That's not real in Texas. It is, but it's not.
But
you can't get half. You can't get half.
But listen to what I'm saying, because I have a family member who went through this and was actually, well, I'm not even gonna go into all that.
Yeah.
When you think about this thing called, we're in Texas, but what about people who are not?
Yeah.
There's a thing called common law marriage.
Yeah.
Okay. It took me 6 years to decide that I don't want to be with this person. I didn't sign a marriage certificate, but now I still have to split all of my stuff because I chose to live with you.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to figure out whether or not I really wanted to make this work. And it took me 6 years to figure out I don't. But now I have to go through the whole process as if I did say I do at the altar when I didn't.
See, and that's kind of my point. So it took her or him, whoever it is, 6 years to figure out that she didn't want to be with them.
Yeah.
Is it, take the common law thing out of it. Is it better to figure out the 6 years before you get married, or get married in that year and figure out it 5 years from now, why you still, just so you can stay with that person? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, see, people who've been dating for 10 years, it's been shown that they can't stay married for one. People who dated for 6 months been married. I have an auntie who dated for 6 months. She's been married for 34 years.
Why is that though? 10 years? Yeah. Like what
because
is it?
The thing about it is, when moving in together for women, men and women move in together for different reasons. Women move in for stability. Women move in for security. Men move in with a woman for convenience. It's completely different, but it's both self-motivated. It's for yourself. It's not for the other person. I need to know what she look like when she go to bed. I need to know how she sleep. I need to know this. I need to know that. And all of it is based on you. It's not based on her. And the reverse is true. I need to know how he can take care of my family. I need to know this, that, and the other. And it's all about self, when marriage is about doing what you're going to do for the other person.
That makes sense. So I guess to break it down, the shacking up makes it a selfish move versus when you do it when you're married, it makes it a unity move.
It's a unity move.
Yeah, that's the way to put it.
Yeah.
I mean, to sum it up, it's a unity move when you do it when you're married.
Right.
And like you said, people do it often, but it doesn't guarantee a success. It doesn't. You get with somebody and y'all have been playing this long enough to get tired of one another. Now, commitment's not even a thought anymore. I'm just gonna stay in this because it's convenient. We split these bills down the middle. We take care of these kids. We do this, that, and the other, and we still see other people. And now it's become dysfunctional. What are you showing your children? And what are you showing your daughters and your sons?
Therefore, you have turned what could have been potential to be a soulmate into a roommate. And so the woman starts doing the role of a wife, but never becomes the wife, and the husband just kind of. That thing just kind of fizzles out. So, I think a man, again, this is my opinion, a man truly knows what he wants within the first 3 to 6 months.
Yes.
And then after that, when it started getting to the 4, 5, 6 year, and then we haven't fully committed, then we kind of just, all right, now I'm gonna get back on the market. So a man knows he's committed. He's all the way in.
Yeah.
And something might happen after that 7 months, but then by the 8 months, like, okay, I can see myself being with this person. So.
This might ruffle some people's feathers, but I read a book by Dr. Miles Monroe, and it's just as plain as can be. He said, and this I'm saying I quote, but it could have been just a little bit different. But he was saying that cohabitation is like, even in a relationship, is like glorified prostitution. And why did he say that? That's deep, right? Why did he say that? He said because for women, you move in for stability. I give you sex, you pay these bills. For women, you take care of me and my children, and I bend over whenever you get ready. And for the man, it's like, all right, I'm gonna take care of you and your kids as long as I can get what I want from you. But don't look for commitment from me because I'm gonna still do what I want to do. As long as I'm taking care of you and your children, don't open your mouth.
Wow.
And he had a lot of content to go in with that, and I was just like, even myself, I never looked at it from that perspective until he had a lot more content to go with that. But I was just like, man, that is deep. I've never even thought of it that way. But when I read it, I was like, whoa.
What if they split the bills 50-50 though?
You still not taking care of your full self. You still are going half and half. So you're getting something from the, I mean, people married and they split bills 50-50.
What do you think? What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's a wonderful statement. The whole 50-50, the whole 50-50 debate and conversation. Period. Should it be 50-50 or should it because they're they're turning the 50-50 thing into more than just financial, but we want to talk about it. Financial and the relationship roles. Okay. Should a relationship marriage be 50-50 or should it just be whatever works for your house and you do what works for you?
Absolutely. So a lot of people have asked Chelsea and myself about this whole little 50-50 deal. I mean, I've been tagged in several posts and people just, who should do the bills? And so I was raised on, seeing, when my dad had his wherewithal and my dad took care of everything. He was the breadwinner, and whatever my wife makes, that's just extra. Mm-hmm. So I'm a grind, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to make sure this house is taken care of. Other people may not see it this way. The way the world is, they say it takes two incomes to make a house stay afloat or whatever. Hey, that's cool. But whatever, like you said, whatever works for your house, that's cool too. Mm-hmm. So if it's 50-50, cool. If it's 100, cool. If it's 75-25, cool. Because at one point in time, in this house, we both wasn't working.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So who bringing bread to the table?
Nobody.
Not one person. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, and then at another point in time, my wife wasn't working for, I don't know for how long.
Like a year.
Mm-hmm. Had to step up.
Right.
And didn't complain, you know what I'm saying? But I was ready for that. Mm-hmm. Other people, they can't handle that. But man, I had to man up. I had to make a conscious decision that, hey, she not working. We got to take care of business.
Right.
The house still going to roll,
So I think the misconception of 50-50 is people always think financially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Correct.
So when I think of 50-50, I think, okay, if I take care of 100% of the bills, then you got to take care of 100% of something else. That way we can make this balance out. Right. Mm-hmm. So if I take care of the bills, you should take care of the house. Mm-hmm. The cleaning and all that. And I chip in a little bit, but that to me, that's 50-50.
Okay.
Right? So what do y'all think about that as far as the 50-50 and not just financially, but if I'm taking care of this part, then you got to pull your weight and take care of the other part too.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
Whatever, the man brings to the house, the woman, doubles it and she gives it back. She takes it and gives it back to her. But how you say it, you say it perfectly. But
whatever you give a woman, she will multiply.
Yeah.
If you give a woman groceries, she'll give you a meal. Mm-hmm. If you give her a house, she'll make it a home.
There you go.
You give her a seed, she will make it a baby.
And if you give her an attitude, guess what you're going to get back?
The couch.
Straight up, man.
Yeah. But I mean, like you said, when it comes to 50-50, it's like, that's like saying, okay, well, I don't feel like giving birth this year. You want to have a baby, you give birth to the baby. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work like that. Mm-hmm. Everything is by design. Mm-hmm. And when you operate out of design, it frustrates the entire home. Right. And like you were saying, if a man paying 100% of the bills, the woman taking care of the house, that does not remove you from the responsibility of the home, but it does say that she will carry most of the weight when it comes to taking care of the home. Right. Because taking care of home is 24 hours, whereas you can clock in and out of a job.
Right, absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
So do you think if a couple do decide to, or if a man and a woman decide to just split all of the financial bills 50-50, do you both think that makes him less than a man if that's what they decide to do? Because a lot of times that is even frowned upon, where they want to judge how much he contributes financially, and as a measure of his manhood.
And well, absolutely not. Let me just say that he's not less of a man. I think I stated it earlier. Don't matter what the man or the woman may bring to the pot. We got to remember, when you become into a covenant, it's about oneness. Right. So what she brings to the table and what I bring to the table, that's what we have in this pot. It's one pot. Right. And so therefore, nobody's less than, nobody's more than, nobody's more dominant than the other person. The common goal is, hey, let's get the pot, let's take care of these bills.
Absolutely. And that's the thinking that we need to start, the mindset we need to start thinking with. Like, if we are married, if we are a union,
it's one pot.
This is our money.
It's our money.
Yeah, this is our money. We gonna pay the bills.
Yeah.
We gonna buy a car. Yeah. We gonna go on vacation with our money. Yeah. And I think still now, even with marriages today, a lot of people are still operating with separate bank accounts.
Because they still have a single mentality.
Yeah, you can't go into marriage thinking with a singles mentality. A lot of people, like during the engagement phases, we don't talk about the tough questions.
Yes.
What happens if I lose my job? You know what I'm saying? What happens if I only want to have sex once a week, or you know what I'm saying? I don't know if we're gonna talk about that later, but we don't discuss these questions. All we're doing is saying, hey, I'm physically attracted to you. You look good, let's get married. Not knowing that this joker got a mental illness, or you know what I'm saying, just all kind of stuff can pop up. High blood pressure running the family. We don't discuss these things.
Right.
And so with the 50-50 situation, that's a question that needs to be discussed before we get into covenant. So
I want to just add this, that when it comes to 50-50, I think that it should be a mutual agreement and not an expectation of the husband to say, you gonna meet me halfway. Your grind gotta match mine. Because then you put a certain pressure on her to remove her from her responsibility of being able to mother, of being able to cook, of being able to do these things, and have to meet you halfway, and you don't do none of the stuff she do when y'all get home. You see what I'm saying? So now it's like, I gotta match what you do and take care of the house. Like, that's too much pressure.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
I agree.
You want her to work a job making $200,000 a year. You want her to come home and cook. Then you want her to come home and nurture the baby, and then she's tired and she don't have time for sex at this point.
She don't have time for sex.
Because you want me to match your hustle, right?
Yeah.
No, some gotta sacrifice something.
Exactly.
Yeah. And actually touching on that, man, I know you spoke about it earlier with the divorce rate. How important is sex in a marriage?
Oh my gosh.
Good question.
Now, sex is very important, but sex is only 1% of marriage. One. You don't spend that much time in your marriage having sex. So if you base your marriage on sex, what you gonna do with the other 99%? The everyday living. But sex is very important. But I think that there's a withdrawal from couples having conversations about sex because I don't want to hurt their feelings. I don't want to offend them. I don't want to, kill his ego, all this kind of stuff. When you silently suffering, like, oh my God, I can't wait for this to be over. Yeah. Because you're not satisfied. Or the man breaking his back every time because all you do is laying there like, hurry up. And it's like stale. So it's very, very important to have the conversation, but you have to create a safe place. And what I've learned is when you conversating about sex, don't do it in your bedroom, because you create a certain atmosphere of emotion in there where it's like, ooh, we on eggshells in here right now, because where we actually create the explosion, we done actually had a conversation, and it kind of makes me uncomfortable in here now. So go take a walk. Go to the living room. Go sip some coffee at Starbucks or something like that and have a conversation. But don't do it where you actually create your worship. It creates a stigma.
I think a lot of people have a preconceived notion about when they do get married, you're going to do it 7 times a week, 2 times a day. And hey, let me just be honest with you.
Come on.
You lucky to get it twice a week.
Yeah.
You know, once a week. It just, not that I'm saying it dies down, but we don't communicate about these things. Because some people, they got the nympho spirit.
Oh, yeah.
They want to do it like rabbits all the time. And then you got some people like, nah, hey, I just want to chill. Let's go watch a movie. Let's hang out. Can you hug me without trying to get some, all out in public.
Yeah.
And wrong with that, but some people just want to chill.
Yeah. So how do you keep the bedroom on fire after you've been together for so many years?
Yeah.
Like,
great question.
Because does sex with the same person get boring?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you keep it interesting after you've been with somebody for 5, 6, 7, 8 years or whatever? How do you do that?
So let's just be candid.
Yeah.
It's only so many positions that you can do. And so to keep the bedroom spicy, you have to have fresh ideas. They have sex workshops that couples can go to. Not saying start watching porno.
Right.
I know that's gonna be brought up later, but and talk to your wife, talk to your husband about what positions do they like or what do they desire. You know what I'm saying? Because you definitely don't want the bedroom fire to die down and they start looking elsewhere.
Yes. Should there be boundaries on the type of sex you have in the marriage?
Can I answer your question first about the sex and the fire and all that kind of stuff? I would say a few components is you have to communicate. If you don't feel like you can talk about this, there's no way for it to get better. And then you're frustrated because you feel like they're not gonna understand you, but you have to open your mouth and say something because you don't have a right to complain about something you won't speak up about. Now you got him thinking that he hitting it right, and you like, I hate when he do that. But you're not saying anything.
Right.
So you have to be open about it. You have to be spontaneous. It don't always have to be in your bedroom. Go get a hotel for a couple of hours. You ain't even gotta stay overnight. Just go somewhere. Be spontaneous.
Do it in the car. The park.
In the garage, in the car with the seats laid down. I mean, whatever. You're married. You can do that. You have to keep it spicy. I think that sex gets boring when you stop seeking to satisfy your spouse. When you start doing it as a means of fulfilling your own self and not them, that's when it gets boring.
Or it's a job.
Yeah.
Sure.
You feel like I got to do this out of sexual obligation.
Right.
So I feel like that's when it gets boring. Like, okay, he want to have, I'm not saying him in particular, but I'm saying like my husband want to have sex because he need a climax, not because he want me to feel good. So now he's doing it for himself and not for me. So whether I come or not, he don't care.
Right.
So now it's like it's boring to me because what's exciting? I'm not getting what I need. You are.
Yeah. Right. And what you lie about, you get more of.
Yes.
What you don't communicate about, just say for instance, Chelsea cook some chicken. It's nasty as hell. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But if I don't communicate, baby, that was good.
She gonna keep making the same chicken, a nasty ass chicken. I know it's not nasty, Chelsea. I know it's just an example. Ragged ass peas. Yeah. But you're right. That's actually a great analogy with that. Husky, what you were talking about?
Should there be boundaries on the type of sex you have in a marriage? Because I think a lot of the older generation frowns upon certain types of sex in a relationship. Well, why you should, like, for instance, you want to handcuff your partner, or if you want to tie your partner up, or if you want to videotape yourselves doing that.
You're saying partner. It's not like you said partner. I just want to
pause. Hey, whoa.
Yeah.
But your spouse. Your spouse, like if you want to do, go outside the means of just normal missionary or doggy style or whatever you want to do, other things, like should there be limits to the type of sex that you have in the marriage? I don't think just because you took a covenant under God that you shouldn't look at that. I mean, my whole take is, well, this is my wife, you know what I mean? So I should be able to do what I want.
Yeah, and you do want to keep that thing spicy. I think one area that we can fail in is inviting a third person to
Yeah, no.
You know, the whole threesome. You know what I'm saying? And even so with porno, what pornography does is once we get so attached to pornography, it weakens your attraction towards your spouse, and it increases your divorce rate because you're expecting your spouse to perform at a level that they're not comfortable with. What if, you know, this raw and uncut, right?
Yeah.
What if the man thing don't hang down to his kneecap?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And this is something that you want. What if she don't ride it the way that you seen?
The actor.
Yeah,
because that's
the
what
actor.
they're doing.
I'm sorry, but it would have been really funny if you would have just started rattling off the names.
She gonna be like, what? The way Porsche Pink and Spice be doing it. Wait a minute. But I'm sorry, man. I digress.
What about even with couples going to strip clubs, or married couples going to strip clubs together? Is that kind of like on the same level as watching porn together? You think?
I would put it in that same bracket.
Yeah.
I would put it in because although they're not in the actual act, what they're doing is stimulating your mind to prepare you for that because of what they're doing. And so if your wife if you ain't got no pole at home, and even if you do, and your wife can't do it how she did it on the stage, now you measure your wife and she's already failed because she's not capable of doing what this person does. It's not in her to do that. She ain't no stripper. She can't flip upside down. She didn't fell on her head and now you feel bad because you wanted her to do what somebody was acting as, and we have to see it as that. They are entertaining. That is not real.
It's not realistic.
It's fantasy. It's fantasy, and many people measure their sexual fire or they passion in the room based on a false perception.
Yes, absolutely. And it's kind of keep talking about that with the strip club and the porn thing. A neighbor of mine was actually telling me about a book called Unwitting the Devil. I believe it's called Unwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. And in the book it talks about how a lot of these things, porno, strip clubs, even social media, a lot of these things are things that are fed to us by a third person, but where is that information coming from? Where's that negativity coming from? And in this book, it was all brought up by the devil. But the devil was bringing it through a third person, the social media, the strip club, and all of that. And whenever you do watch porn and masturbate without your spouse or with your spouse, what it does is desensitizes you from reality, like you said, right?
Yeah.
So you watching I don't know these people.
Hey, hold on.
You watching?
Don't say no names.
You watching these different categories and genres and these different people that's unrealistic, and you get into the bedroom and now you can't get up.
You're trying to reenact that.
You can't, or even trying to with your wife. You so desensitized to one person now. You're not able to get it up. You know, and they say that's one of the main reasons is now you gotta take pills and all this other stuff. And the same thing with a woman. Women watch a lot of porn now. So if you watching all of this porn as a woman and using the vibrator and like 12-inch vibrator, whatever it is, now your husband get in the bedroom and now you're desensitized.
Right.
Now you can't even get a satisfaction from your husband because of the false reality of what porn and masturbation is. So that's one of the things they talked about, and he actually talked to me about this like last week, and it really started saying, like, man, I never even thought about it that way, And also what he said is whenever you do that, you're releasing your spirit. Your spirit's supposed to go to your wife.
That's right.
Sometimes.
So so you're not even supposed to release it until it's with your partner because you're pretty much just giving it away.
Correct.
So that's also something you talked about.
What you're doing is you're robbing your partner of the opportunity to fulfill what you desire, and you're giving it to something else. That can't give nothing back to you.
Absolutely, yeah.
See, the dangers of a threesome or pornography or the strip club is that they may be enjoying it at that present moment, but after the smoke clear, like, that spouse is always thinking about it. It's always on their mind. And then when they argue or get into, again, a heated debate, you still thinking about that man, or you still thinking about that woman.
Oh, yeah.
Never leaves.
Yeah.
So that's that soul tie, man. That's we'd need a whole another 90 minutes.
So the last and final question would when the marriage or relationship gets rocky, and I mean really, really problematic and toxic and all of that, what is the best way of repairing it?
I would say to seek help, seek counsel. If it's something that you cannot seem to repair yourself and you've been working on it, and it doesn't seem to change, get help outside of yourself, because apparently what you're doing has not been working. And what Einstein say? Keep doing the same thing and expecting something different. That's insanity. So you can't keep doing that the same way. But what you have to do while you are working towards that is reassure your commitment, because the first thing that people question or are afraid of when you're going through rocky seasons are, am I good enough? Are they gonna leave me?
Right.
So you have to reassure that I don't want anybody else. I want this to work with you, but then you have to take another step and say, let's do what we have to do to fix it.
Right.
Well, I agree. I think when we do get into these rocky situations, we gotta have an out of body experience and look back and say, is it worth it? Do I really love this person? And when I say love, I mean, am I listening to this person? And am I observing this person? Do I value this person? And do I encourage this person? And that's what love is all about, So when it's rocky, sit back, look at the past year, look at the past couple of years. Where are we at? Are we at a standstill, or are we moving forward? And then, like Chelsea said, seek the necessary help. You need it. We have accountability partners that love us dearly. They've been married for 34 years now. And man, we actually have two accountability partners. A mentor that's in Chicago, Illinois. They've been married. They pour into us, and so we ever hit a rocky state, we know they just a phone call away.
Yeah. I would say you have to expect it too. Like, don't expect for everything. That's where the biggest disappointment comes from. Sometimes it's not even the situation. It's the fact that you never thought it would happen. And you don't prepare yourself for it. So now you really disappointed because you like, I never thought that we would be dealing with this. Rather than preparing for it, not as in welcoming it, but you have a repellent for if that situation does come up against your relationship. Right. Not having a repellent, you it's like open season on your marriage and on your relationship. So that's just a few things, and staying steadfast. You can't be so quick to be ready to throw in the towel because you have a situation. You're gonna have trouble. He a man, you a woman. He like it cold, you like it warm. He like Mexican, you like seafood. Y'all different. Learn to accept difference and you'll be better off. But when you're trying to force that person to be like you and you feel like that the issues in the relationship is because of them and what they're doing, then you yourself are actually creating more of a problem than what it really is.
I like that.
So, last but not least, I have two questions, okay? Give me 5 things to maintain a successful marriage.
5 things. Number 1, faithfulness, togetherness. Somebody keep calling me. I'm sorry. Cut that part out. Somebody keep calling me. Faithfulness, togetherness, the willingness to learn each other. What else?
You want 5 from each one of us? Okay.
Yeah, it could be a collective.
I would say God.
Oh, Delvin, that's first
love, sacrifice, giving, and understanding.
Those are 5 good ones.
It's real good one. It's real good. I like it.
Again, man, I appreciate y'all's time.
Yes.
There were a lot of gems in this podcast today, and I'm sure it's going to help out a lot of people, including myself, and I'm sure Husky can agree. Yeah. And I thank you, the Bennetts.
We appreciate y'all having us. Thank you.
We got to do this again. We got to do a part 2.
Yeah, we definitely do a part 2.
Auditions. Maybe we can do something like in Galveston on the beach or something with the beach in the back.
Let's do it.
Real quick, I want to talk about this. So, you guys did a retreat a couple of weeks ago, right?
November,
a couple months ago.
Yes, sir.
Can you kind of explain? Because I'm still not. Can you explain exactly what it was and how you did it, and kind of the process with that?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so man, you know I'm a praying man, and so Chelsea and I we do a lot of counseling and coaching with couples, young or old, and so I was asking God, you know, how can we get everybody in one session, and you know, why is the divorce rate so high? And it came to me, it's like, man, people are skipping phases of marriages. You know, we're physically attracted to people. We're physically attracted to a person, you know, but we skipping the beginning stages. And so I went to my wife. I said, hey, we're going to put together a conference. It's going to be a one-day conference. We're going to do it down in Galveston, and we're going to name it the beginning. And so, like we stated earlier, you know, anytime a man gives a woman something, she multiplies it. And so she put the groundwork together. We started doing the promoting, and you know, the rest is history. It was an amazing event, so to speak. A packed house. Only God could do it. We have so many testimonies. Let me share just one. Financially, they hit us with a couple of bills late, and so it was unexpected. And so it was like, God, hey, if this is, you called us to do this, you'll take care of it. We gonna go to sleep at night. You know, $2,000 something balance. Granted, we have it, we could take care of it, but we was like, God, you gonna take care of it. So we got an unexpected check in the mail that covered it.
Wow.
And then
Totally unexpected. That ain't never happened.
This came up. Yeah, man. Look at God. Look at God.
Look at God. Won't he do it?
Yeah.
Won't he will. Won't he will.
So the second amazing thing was, you know, colored folk, they kind of late on registration. And at the very, like the last day we closed it out, I mean, we got probably like 10 to 15 couples just started, and so we had to close it out. Matter of fact, we had to turn some couples away that really wanted to be there, but we just couldn't, you know, because of the capacity. I think it only sat 100
I think it was 110 of us.
110 in the room.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So no, we had a great time. So we looking forward to doing part 2. But if you want to add or anything I left out on that.
So did they stay at the hotel?
Yeah,
some couples,
Oh, that's awesome. So it was all day. When do y'all plan on doing another one?
Well, that's going to be in the works. We got a lot of groundwork going on with some other things for marriage, but that's definitely a question that's been asked a lot. So apparently it's something that needs to happen again, and as God leads, we're definitely going to be, you know, putting that information out there.
And we will be doing a live remote whenever you guys do.
Hey,
got to. So for anyone who wants to keep up with you guys and continue to get information about their marriage and advice like that, where can they find you guys at? Social media.
So social media, you know, Delvin and Chelsea Bennett on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel that we'll start uploading more videos on. Facebook. I'm on Twitter as well, but I be wilding out on there. So
like you said, I'm on Instagram and Facebook as my regular government name, Chelsea Bennett, and make it easy for them to find me. Chelsea, CHEL''C.
All right, there we go.
Absolutely.
And thank you guys again. The Not Suitable for It podcast. We out.
Hit that subscribe button, man.
All right, thank you guys.
The Not Suitable for Work podcast. Subscribe now.